Home renovations can be stressful, but they don't have to be. Our mission is to provide our clients with the best remodeling experience possible. But don't take my word for it. See what our customers have to say. So why did you guys decide you wanted to go with Zenith?
It was the most unique and different bid that we had. All the other bids that we had were pretty standard, nothing particularly unique about it. We felt like it went well with kind of the aesthetic of the house and what we were going for.
I felt like you did a good job listening and communicating, and that was really important in setting expectations. In addition to the product, right? Like obviously, and people have seen it, like it's striking when you see it. The other thing that was real impressive, to me at least, was just the attention that was paid to the wood.
The custom bench that was built is excellent. It's a great addition for seating, and they took their time with it and smoothed out the edges and in ways that I am certain other folks would not have done.
Yeah, we appreciated that.
What made you choose Zenith versus anyone else that gave you a bid?
Well, part of it was you showed up on time. That was big. Some guys, they just show up late, and that's a bad first impression. And then you weren't pushing to like change my ideas. You know, we really wanted to go with the IKEA cabinets, and other guys were like, well, we don't do that. We'd rather do whatever cabinets they install. So I liked that, and then the price was right.
There's also a design change where we moved the sink, and there's a couple different options. So we moved the sink from the corner, so we had a couple windows in the corner, and then we moved it over so that way it faces your backyard, and then took out your sliding door to get more cabinetry. Can you speak towards like why making some of those changes, or what was that process with Jillian?
Well, Jillian came in right away, and that was her idea, to move because we didn't like the corner sink. That was the first thing she asked. She's like, do you like that? And I was like, no. I mean, under the sink is just a black hole abyss where you just lose everything. And she's like, well, then it would make sense to move it and move the windows too. And I was kind of leery about that at first, because it's like, that sounds expensive. But it was a really good choice, and it makes a huge difference. Yeah. And it's a way better view of the backyard too. Like we actually see the kids playing outside, rather than just looking at our neighbor's patio or whatever it is that we could see before.
If a friend asks you if you'd recommend Zenith to do their remodel project, what would you say?
Definitely.
Why would you say that?
Well, the process was just easy. I mean, and all my ideas you guys did, and it looks like I thought it would, and it looks better than I thought it would. Like all the little details, all the little nicks on the wall and all that, everything was caught, and it was done right.
Jillian Lair helped out a ton with the design process. And,
yes.
So can you talk a little bit about your experience with working through the process with Jillian and us through the design?
Yeah, I thought about doing some design by myself. I had done a little bit of stuff just at my old property that I used to live at. You know, it's kind of fun to get the pencil paper out and sketch things, but often if you haven't had background training like she has with like a master's degree in design, you don't want to miss a project like this and do a poor job with that amount of money. Okay. So I thought, well, I'm going to hand it over to somebody that has professionally studied design and proportion and everything. And so that's where the expertise matters when you're putting your money into a gorgeous home, and you want to have resale value, and you don't want to date things. So it was important to get some designer on board.
Yeah, and it's relatively a small cost compared to the rest of the project. How was the process going through the construction phase, the timeliness of everything? What was your experience like going through construction?
Very good. You know, we had a little bit of holiday time, and they worked around things, and you know, sometimes you think, oh, it's just going to take longer, but they stayed right on track. You know, the minute the holiday was over, they were here, and I thought they were methodical. Everything was methodical. I think everybody took a lot of pride in their work. You kind of like to see that. Not that you have your nose in everybody's job when they're doing something, but anytime I came in here, I would see somebody throw a board out that wasn't to their specification. For example, when you're doing the floor, you want it to match and look nice, and they were meticulous. And I thought your manager, by Jim, was very methodical. Called me and said, hey, this is going to be done, A, B, C. And he didn't miss anything. I thought, an organized person is a good person to have, because I'm not used to it. But anyway, it's good to have somebody like Jim. I thought he was a number one guy. He just seemed like he stays on top of everything.
Yeah, very much so. How do you feel that, did we meet those expectations we set originally, or through that experience?
Yes, in fact, you did above and beyond. When we had problems with the header, for example, I just know a little bit about construction. My brother's a contractor. I knew that our header was built wrong, and it could have collapsed. Probably wouldn't have. But you caught it and said, hey, this is not the way things are supposed to be designed. So I was happy that you found some problems with insulation, with the headers, and that's what you want in a company, to come in and say, hey, there might be a little problem over here, we got to address it. So we appreciated it. It's the next people will be happy that we did what we did.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're doing things right. And
us too.
When you start taking, especially these older homes, you start taking things apart. You really get to see how people did things prior, and you never know. So that's the hard part about some of these renovations is in the older homes, you see things that you're like, that's not up to code.
Right,
and that's not done correctly.
Over the years, I imagine all types of things can change for construction, but mostly you like that all construction is done well, and so we were pleased.
Nice. So what is the biggest wow factor? What do you like the most, or what is a little detail that you appreciate?
Well, I think I'd like the soft lights at night. You can turn these on. That's kind of gives it a ambiance for like just you winding down at the end of the day. You don't want bright lights on. I like that feel. But the appliances are so nice and big. I mean, you can put in quite a bit of groceries in the big refrigerators, and we've always had big refrigerators, but those are quiet. The old ones we've had have been kind of noisy. The oven cooks really efficiently. I was surprised that the gas stove that we had, I always thought that would be more efficient. But the electrical ones really rival that and even better.
What do you think of your touch faucets?
Oh, I like those. I had them from our old sink, and my husband and I were laughing how, we'd be cooking and you have to put your elbow and turn it off or something. But you could really just turn it off, and it's a kind of a fun thing to play with, I guess, off and on. But they're handy to have. You wash your hands and everything without getting everything dirty.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Very cool. So going through this experience, what would you tell your friends if they want to do a larger renovation project? Would you recommend Zenith?
Oh, definitely. And I think that I never thought about companies so much. I just thought you look in the phone book and you go there, and then you call them up, and you know of friends that know somebody. But that's not the way to do it. You really should go see their work. And I think that something that catches your eye, it says, hey, I want to get this builder. And it was mostly my husband that said, come on over, you've got to see this. So I'm glad he did that, because it made me say, oh, you're serious, we're going to do a kitchen. Well, we did it.
Yeah.
And they did a great job. And I would say, don't go to the phone, but go by looking and seeing their work. And come here if you want to.
Why did you decide to work with us versus anyone else?
Well, we had seen some previous work of yours, and our house kind of fell in the same era, 1952, of what we'd seen your work. So we felt like we kind of, we wanted someone with that vision. And so we like supporting local contractors and stuff. So that's why when we filled out a little card at an open house of yours, I got a call from you 2 weeks later. Can we talk about your project? And away we went.
Talking about expectations, one thing that we really try to pride ourselves on is setting the right expectations from the beginning and actually following through those expectations, or ultimately trying to see those expectations. So from our initial expectations we set, and then also the ones we set within the pre-construction meeting with Jim, how do you feel those expectations being met or being exceeded throughout the process?
Well, like I said, number one, keeping it clean, because I had to live here. And when Jim would tell me what things were happening that day, they were usually happening. I think we had maybe a couple days where somebody couldn't show up for some reason, or he communicated with me. I mean, the communication was great.
Would you recommend Zenith?
Yes, I would.
Definitely. Why though? Why would you recommend that?
Well, I think it's been a good experience. I mean, you did exactly what we wanted. You were true to your contract. You explained it all. You sit down with us. We went over it. There was no guesswork in that, which is big.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So I wanted to say thank you for the experience that we had with you. It was a pleasure working with you. Jim had fun too.
Yes.
he really enjoyed working with you, and it was a blast. And it's really enjoyable for us to actually make clients happy. I mean, that's our ultimate goal, is making sure that you have a good experience and that you love the product that we're putting in place, and ultimately loving it for like years to come, and enjoying it with family for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, which you've already enjoyed Thanksgiving. So Christmas is to come. So cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
We went through the planning phase and the design phase. So how was your experience working with Jen Haywood with Texturious Designs and working with myself through this planning phase?
Well, Jen is fabulous.
Yeah.
I love Jen.
Yeah.
She made it really simple. I'm the kind of person that kind of has a big picture idea, and she really helped me focus down on exactly the colors that would work best, and all that. And she was just great. And she very flexible, worked with my schedule, so that was great.
Yeah, she's super good at those details, and then also we really appreciate that she's a little bit more process driven than a lot of designers. So she helps out with the construction side too, and she was here checking on things.
Absolutely,
as well.
and guided, like, okay, I kind of know I want this, and then she would, like, she implemented doing the shower handle on this side instead of inside. So the little extra ideas that, as a non-designer, I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah. So do you think it was worthwhile to have a designer involved versus working with a contractor that you had to make everything yourself, pick everything out?
Yes, for a bathroom, for me, was for sure a benefit.
How was your experience going through the construction process?
Well,
with
that
guys?
was almost my favorite because I had a horrible experience in my kitchen, and I love the fact that we could plan everything, have everything ordered, and then start construction instead of you coming in here and ripping it out and me waiting 6 to 8 weeks for things to come in. And then your guys are phenomenal.
Thanks.
They showed up on time, they left on time, the cleaning every day was outstanding. I have 2 horrible dogs, and you guys were patient with them and kept it clean, and I was worried about the wood floors, and you did everything to make sure that they are still in good conditions.
How did you feel about us setting the correct expectations up front and following through with those expectations when we...
Well, every contractor's going to give you an expectation, and then if they actually fulfill it, it's a shocker. And you guys have been on top of it from moment one, so I did not worry at all. And I have to say also, since you were doing a master bath and a master bedroom, this was a livable space for us during construction, and you still made it perfectly livable for us, which was lovely. And it was just, I cannot give you enough higher praise. Thank you.
Thank you. So do you have any advice for anybody, like another family that wants to take on a larger renovation project, or master or kitchen? Do you have any advice for them when they try to pick out who they want to work with?
Well, for one, the communication and the quick responsiveness that you are looking for you have anxiety about having things done to your house, people coming in, and you guys were punctual, respectful, clean, all the things that you want. And with the design aspect also, it takes the stress off of having to walk into a showroom and feel uncomfortable, ask who to talk to, all that took any of that kind of anxiety away.
What we also try to pride ourselves on is providing good design, but also working within the bounds of someone's budget too.
Absolutely.
You know, like there are certain things, yes, we could have done to save money, or we could have done to spend more money. Like there's certainly either way, but really trying to work through that with customers is really important, especially if you have something in mind in the beginning.
Right.
And you know, like just the fact that you want your other bathroom wasn't quite as nice as this one, and it's like, well, we're here, we might as well just work with you on this to give you what you want, but give you it for a good price.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks great.
I didn't feel hindered by any of that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It was really nice to have Jen with me when I was doing the picking of all the hardware and things, because I could go left field and think, oh, this is so pretty, but then the price tag, she's like, well, this is pretty, but it's not as good of a product. You know, you still have, you're within your budget, so that was really nice to have somebody
Yep.
guide me through it.
So that way we're also trying to stay within budget, but we're also giving you what you want.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, if you just go to showrooms and you start picking stuff out, and you don't know what your
It
allowances are.
can be really
Yeah, you
overwhelming.
could be
And
overwhelmed.
then you get the price.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, what just happened? You know. So I think that in that planning phase, and we can really figure out everything that's going into the project before we start. Then you have a better idea of what you're actually going to be spending, because we know if our above allowances or below allowances. So I think that's really critical too, because it's easy to make the changes in the design phase. It's not so easy to make the changes after you have something installed.
Yeah, it was very flexible, and it was just a great experience. Super happy.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
That's the last one.
Call Zenith.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.